What up, world? Welcome to episode 8 of the Dial of K. My Lil Saucy Ass Cuz, featuring my Lil Saucy Ass Cuz, Jeremiah. The reason why I'm doing this episode is this is my contribution to a conversation amongst Black men, amongst the Black community as a whole, but particularly to Black men of my age that grew up in a hyper masculine environment and literally threw around terminology loosely. And the thing about time and growth and being an adult that has sex, you are highly likely to end up having offspring, right? And once you have offspring, things that you thought prior to having offspring can be challenged. And not for me, it's not only just offspring, it's just family. Like you could do things outside and you could say things outside and you could be a part of things that are going on outside. But when things that are going outside come home, if you feel like you got to keep that same energy and the energy is not really your energy, that's interesting. You know what I'm saying? But for me, I realized that a lot of things that I thought mattered in theory, when I was confronted with them in actuality, in regard to people that I loved and cared about, those opinions went secondary to what I feel is primary, and that's like family first. But and not only family, but like, even people. You know what I'm saying? Like I've never been able to cut somebody off that I fuck with based on something that they did. Like no one thing that a person that I fuck with does is gonna be like, you know what, I don't fuck with you no more. You know what I mean? Like if I'm with you, I'm with you. You know what I'm saying? We into the end. So that being said, introduce yourself. In your millennial. You're not even millennial. You like the shit.
No, I'm a Gen Z. I'm a Gen Z. Gen Z.
Yeah, it's a Z thing. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I am Jeremiah Thomas. I am 17 years old. I am Gen Z, obviously. I live in Florida, North Florida. So I live in a small town, population of like 14,000. But I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. And there's definitely a culture shock when you move from somewhere as bright and vibrant and culturally different like Brooklyn to a small town and the rural South, and for me, coming to who I am now and the confidence that I am now, it was such a long journey, and it is still a long journey. I don't think the journey will ever end, really. When I first came here, I was so young. I didn't even know what being gay was. Like, I didn't even know it was. It was my 6th grade summer, so I think I was about 13 or 14 when I first moved down here. And, my first exposure to anything gay.
I hate to do this because I'm the old one. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But
I got you.
6th grade, you're 17 now in 12th grade. So 6th grade is more like 11-ish, 11, 12.
Yeah.
Which in the development of a child.
I didn't. Yeah. So I didn't even know what gay was. It was it wasn't something I was exposed to. And the way I even quote unquote came out to my friends, it was so weird. It was like, it wasn't I'm gay. It was, oh, I have a crush on blah blah blah. I didn't even know that concept. And it's so funny to me because it was like, it wasn't even something that was really different to me. It was just something that was not out there. I was just that one exclusion. And I got outed obviously by telling these people these things, and so it turned into like, oh, I have a crush on this boy, to, oh, like I'm gay. And that young.
This was like shortly after getting to Florida.
Yes, yeah, exactly. This was a couple months after starting school, so maybe 2 or 3 months after starting school, for the first time in this new town full of really nothing but white people. Um, and so I was like, okay, I'm gay. What is gay? And I would go on the internet and I would look up like gay YouTubers, gay people, like just all these things because
Mhm.
I really didn't know what it was, and I felt like I had to live up to this expectation of the title as the gay boy.
Mhm.
Um, and I really saw nothing but like these white gay YouTubers who had straight hair, colorful hair, who had built bodies. There wasn't a lot of representation, especially gay representation for a young black gay boy in South Florida.
Mhm.
So
But being that you were on the internet, that gave you access to like the entire world. So
yeah.
even on the
Oh yeah.
entire internet, you didn't see uh because we're talking 6 years ago. So like I remember when y'all left, it was like 15, around 2015. And
Mhm.
I thought that there was a lot of caricature of young black, but black gay has always been a caricature in
Yeah.
popular culture. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So I
Most
knew.
definitely.
So did you come across any of that? Like and you have like the comedians that like
Mhm.
they do like the I'm a girl skits. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Girls be like,
Yeah. That
did
was that
that?
was something that was very
Yeah.
prominent and popular. But like as you're saying, it was a caricature. It was a joke.
Mm,
So it wasn't something that like a lot of people looked at like seriously.
mm,
Um, and it's definitely not something that a lot of people want it to be
mm,
because it was a joke. Um, and so when you looked at all this representation, even representation as of like getting gay community service awards or anything like that, it was really always just these white gay men.
mm.
And of course there was a community of popular gay queer artists and creators and etc. But it was extremely hard to find that, especially in 2015
On the
as
internet.
a 12-year-old
Mm,
boy.
yeah.
Um, and so just that started a whole new wave of just like toxic insecurity of hating
Mm.
myself. um I want to be white. I want to be white
So
because I
so
was
the wanting to be white thing, but so let me just give a quick little family history of how
Mhm.
we're here, right?
Yes,
Um,
yeah,
you're black, right? You a nigga,
yeah.
nigga, 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 nigga. But your mother is my little cousin, right?
Mhm.
Who is the daughter of my aunt, who is the sister of my mother. However, um, oh yeah, your grandfather, yeah. So
Mhm.
your grandfather's white, um, and I would say that even with a white father, your mother definitely grew up more amongst like a black community, black identifying.
Oh yeah, most
Yeah.
definitely.
When they
Most
moved to New
definitely.
York, they kind of turned into like Puerto Ricans. You know what I'm saying? Started hanging around with
Yeah.
Puerto Ricans and shit. So
I think that was later, definitely like later, like before that was like towards closer to when we moved to Florida, like definitely. But I think at first it was definitely like very involved with black
but
and blackness.
black and Puerto Rican culture in New York is very close. Like it intersects.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
there are a couple lines, as whenever you have minorities
Hmm.
like competing for resources, there becomes a certain level. There is a little division, but you got
Oh
a lot of
yeah,
familiarity. You know what I'm saying?
most
And
definitely.
then because our family, our mothers are West Indian and we have a Caribbean background, it's another layer of where you like naturally identify, right?
Yeah,
So moving to South Florida,
North Florida.
that when you North Florida, yeah, moving to
Hmm.
North Florida, that's going to be the first time that you're really around like predominantly white communities. You know what I mean? Because in
Yeah.
Brooklyn, you were in a even
Hmm.
though your mom's had like a Puerto Rican boyfriend, and so I know there's like
Hmm.
a lot of Puerto Ricans around, right? But
Yeah.
even though those Puerto Ricans were Puerto Ricans, that Puerto Rican culture is not far removed from Black culture, definitely not far removed from culture in Brooklyn. But
yeah, exactly.
South, I remember when y'all moved to Bay Ridge. Like when I first came home, y'all was in Bay Ridge. Bay Ridge is a lot of Spanish people. It used to be a lot of white people back in the days, but when you were out there, it was more Spanish than white, right?
Definitely a lot of Arabics too.
Yeah. So the first time that you were really immersed in white culture is when you go to Florida.
Yeah.
And that is like at 11 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and it's interesting you bring that up because when I was living in Texas at that same age where white culture was the dominant culture, and as far as media, like the Black media that you grew up with, like hip hop being like the dominant music form and stuff like that.
Genre. Yeah.
That's relatively new in the grand scheme of things. Like,
oh, definitely.
Yeah. So when I was your age, if I turned on the TV, I wasn't likely to see anything Black.
Yeah.
At 11, right?
Yeah.
So you do kind of inadvertently gain a certain admiration, respect for like white culture, right?
Yeah, you kind of put it on this pedestal.
Yeah, but and then there's a crossroads for Black kids where either you embrace it or you like become hyper Black to compensate for that, which is what happened to me, right? Like I just went extra nigga like around 11, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But there was Black people, there was Black kids when I was 11 that embraced white culture, and we would be like, oh, y'all trying to act white, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we're all trying to survive in a white supremacist based system. And
yeah, exactly.
And all our decisions are made for that survival. Some people choose to assimilate and imitate as their form of survival, or not even really surviving, it's coping. We're trying to cope with it, right? So some people choose assimilation and imitation to cope, and then other people, they, like me, you know, like I went hardcore Black militant, 11 years old, 12 years old, started calling white man the devil. You know what I'm saying? I read exactly. Biography when I was 12. So I've been, you know, so it goes either way. So you get to South Florida, and so there's a North Florida. You get to North. I keep on saying South because that's from New York.
And there's a very big. The only reason why I'm like so like distinct on separating them is because there's definitely like a really big cultural difference. Like
definitely,
with South Florida, you have Cubans, you have Latinos, you have that culture aspect.
Yeah,
but
North Florida is more like Georgia or Tennessee.
Yeah, it's really all just white people.
Gotcha. So you get to North Florida, and not only are you dealing with your what do you call that? I guess this would be your sexuality.
Yeah, sexuality.
Your pubescent sexuality, but you're also you know, trying to rationalize being a light-skinned nigga in North Florida with good hair.
Yeah. And that it's a good that you brought that up because you know, technically an aspect saying, you know, I am mixed. Like my mom being half white and half Black, and then and then my dad being Black. I'm more Black than white, obviously. But like that was something that also affected that. It was like when I first moved here, I was battling like so many different battles, you know, being a mixed kid.
That's a lot to put on the shoulders of a fucking 11-year-old.
Yeah, going into this giant school. There was 2 middle schools, okay, and the one I was at was the biggest one. You know, in a predominantly white area, there was just so many different struggles coming at me at once. And so I tried to assimilate, as you say. You know, I started to hate my features. I started to hate my hair. My hair is still my biggest insecurity to this day. I started to hate my nose. I started to hate my lips. It got deep. It got really, really deep.
I did not know any of this.
Yeah, it was definitely a struggle.
But I gotta admit though, I really wasn't keeping up with 11-year-old Jeremiah. You know what I'm saying?
Like, and that's another thing. You know, there's just, you know, when we moved to Florida, you know, Grandma Jackie died at, Grandma Jackie died at you know, such a young age from my mom that my mom was never really taught like Black woman aspects of life, you know, really, or just really Black woman aspects in general. And so I was taken away from a lot of Black culture, you know? Like, I didn't know how to do my hair. I didn't really know anything about our family. You know, I was just very like, whenever I thought of my family, I just thought of my mom, Kylie, Mary, and Felix. Like that was really it.
Yeah,
I didn't really know
yeah,
anything else.
yeah.
Um, and so it was really hard, trying to find and being proud of yourself for being Black, but then not having any
Um,
body or any, standpoint to
yeah.
stand on, not knowing anything. And so it was really, really hard. Um, and I don't think it started to get better until my junior year of high school. Like
Which is
that's
recently.
how long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's
being that you said that, I want to
Mhm,
go back a little bit uh, to early family reactions, right?
mhm.
Now, you were born in 2003, right?
2003 or three.
Yeah, oh three, baby. So when you were born at the time that I went away, and I
Mhm,
was separated from the family, and a lot happened during that time. Like you
yeah.
said, and Jackie, your grandmother died. Um, uh, the family was like that was like the first blow. You started to grow.
Mhm,
Uh, your mother met that guy. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like a lot of things took place during that time, right? And
Mhm,
when I was away, I didn't really keep up with the family much
mhm.
because I was gone, and like
Yeah.
that was just added stress. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
but I remember hearing things about you, um, like when you were like 5, 6, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
and me and Michelle, your aunt, uh,
Mhm,
your mother's older sister, like we're like the closest of all the family. You know what I mean? Like,
mhm.
so I remember I was talking to her one day, and she was like, yeah, Jeremiah, we use terms. You know what I'm saying? She said he was sweet, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So, and this is around, you had to be like 4, 5. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
This is
was
like,
really young.
yeah. So, and reason why I'm bringing this up is, um, I'm gonna get to that while I'm bringing it up. But I
Mhm.
believe that people are who they are, not who they choose to be. Right?
Yeah,
It's,
exactly.
it's it's like a nature nurture thing, right?
Mhm.
I fall on the side of nature. Some people are nurtured, right?
Yeah.
I fall on the side of nature with the caveat that it's probably like it's close. You know what I'm saying? Maybe
Yeah.
it's 60-40 nature over nurture, or 70-30,
Yeah.
right? I don't think it's just 100 to 0.
Yeah.
So nurture does play a significant um, portion in a person's demeanor and outlook, right? But
Yeah.
you and Nico are not that far in
Entirely two
age.
different people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but grew
We're
up in the
entirely
same house, same
exactly.
environment,
Full of
and
women. I might add, full of
yeah,
women.
yeah. So a lot of people in our community, and and like I said, this is more a conversation for Black men. So a lot of Black men feel like they could do something or not do something to influence a young boy or a young girl's decision. And I guess for
Mhm.
the sake of this conversation, it's more for Black men and Black boys, right? So
Yeah.
do you? What is your opinion on like outside influences in your life that led you to this point? And
For me personally,
you don't
mhm,
remember, I don't know if you're aware or if you remember that when you were 4 or 5 years old, right? This was
mhm.
being told to me about you, right? Like
Yeah.
you
Oh
were
yeah.
3, 4 years old playing with your mother's clothes, playing with, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. People tell me all the time.
yeah, this was established for us before you were 11, right?
And see, when you bring something up like that, like it's definitely nature. It's definitely not something. I mean, you ask any gay person, why would I choose to be hated on? Why would I choose to be
Exactly.
discriminated? But you know, when something like that happens at such a young age, it's really in the parent's decision on how that child is going to view themselves for the rest of their life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, I would wrap towel around my head, open a magazine, put my mom's heels on,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I was a
And this is
child.
like
That's how
this
I
is
expressed
like
myself.
4 or 5, 3.
Yeah, that's what I thought
Yeah.
was fun.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say if there was a different aspect, and let's say if my dad was there and he had beaten me for that,
Mm-hmm.
and that specifically, what that tells that child is that when you express something like this specifically, it's wrong. You're wrong. And so they're going to grow up their entire life thinking that it's wrong, even though that's what they are, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what they want to do. They suppress that feeling. And that's just going to make a very hateful person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're not going to love themselves, and they're not going to love anyone else who is similar in that aspect. And it's very, very sad
Mm-hmm.
because, you see men kill other gay men because of the way they're expressing themselves because of their internal homophobia. And even in Florida, I have experienced so much personally and from other gay guys here, internal of homophobia. And it's so ironic to me. It's kind of hilarious. Like, and so I definitely think that you cannot beat the gay out of your child.
Mm-hmm.
You're only going to make them hate themselves and make them a very, very hurtful person. And it's just why? Why? I saw this video and this woman was saying, when you have children, you need to already know in your mind that they are not your mini you. They are not someone who should act exactly like you, think
Mm-hmm.
exactly like you. They're going to have their own ideologies, they're going to have their own expressions, and you have to be okay with that with being a parent. And I definitely think that's a 100% aspect thing. Like, you can't go into parenthood and just expect your child to be something, and when they're not, you know call them a disappointment or anything like that. Like, it's very, very damaging.
Yeah.
And so I
Which
definitely
leads
think you
me
need
to
to.
another question.
Mhm.
What were the early family reactions?
It was a bit bad. I'm not even gonna lie. Definitely here in Florida.
No, our family. Like how did
Oh,
our
our family,
family?
like our extended family.
Well,
I actually don't
the
know.
ones that you had, the ones that had interaction with, like first starting within the home,
Oh, yeah. So like my mom and Mary and them.
mhm.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was when I had first came out to my mom. There were lots of arguments, and it was very sad. Like, the first thing she had ever said to me when I came out to her was, "Well, were you touched when you were little?" And you can't tell people things like that when they finally build up this courage
Were
to.
you?
No.
Uh, I was about to say because the guns is about to come out. Man. We
Yeah,
don't
no, no,
play
no,
like
no,
that. Now,
no, definitely
yeah,
not. But even pushing that stigma of like, oh, you can only be gay because you were molested. Like,
no. I just asked because
yeah,
that's
oh yeah,
offensive.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But whenever you tell somebody something like that, it's very damaging. Or a lot of people loved using this. This was even the kids my age. Well, you've never been with a girl before, so how would you know? And I think it's just a very ignorant question. I think it's one, it's really none of your business how I
Mm-hmm.
come to find out. But two, everyone finds it themselves. There's not really a general answer for it because everyone is different. Like, we're
Mm-hmm.
all different.
Yeah.
Come to it your way.
I feel like it's definitely a natural thing, right? As far as like, I remember
Mhm.
being 4 years old, humping on little girls, right? I never humped on a
Yeah.
little boy. It never crossed my mind to hump on a little boy. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, like I've come to this conclusion years ago that people are who they are born to be. Nothing comes out of you that is not inside of you, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I'm gonna shoot a slug at all these homophobic dudes out there, right? Uh, if your son comes out gay, that means you have some sugar in your tank, nigga. You know what I'm saying? You shot that shit out. You know what I'm saying? So fuck out of here.
Why not be proud of it? Like, you know.
Erase that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
These niggas is running around homophobic. It wouldn't be no gay dudes if niggas didn't have sugar in their tank.
Yeah, like I don't know. I think it's very, especially with specifically Black men in our Black community.
But wait. Before you go into that though.
Yeah.
I don't want to I don't want to turn this into like a outing of the family, right? But
yeah, that's what I'm trying to be careful of.
Yeah. But can we say that it wasn't good? The reaction.
No, it wasn't good whatsoever.
Now, did you get a good reaction from anywhere in the family? A positive reaction?
Yes.
Okay.
Many. It was definitely family and family friends.
Yeah. Okay, so, good.
Yeah.
And just for those that don't know, explain to people the difference from a positive family reaction and a negative in just a quick sentence.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. A positive.
When I say the difference, is like how it made you feel. Like what did that do?
Okay.
The positive.
Most definitely. When somebody comes out to you and you have all of these innate and ignorant questions, as if, were you touched, or how do you know you've never been with a girl before, or are you sure? You know, something as simple as that can feel very invalidating. It can feel, it's very damaging. It's more damaging than you might think. And that's why a lot of people like to call us the quote unquote sensitive generation, but don't get me onto that. Or, you know, a negative family reaction, beating them. That's obviously, it's going to put trauma into your child, and they're going to have to deal with that. Like maybe for the rest of their life. Are you
against child beating period, or you're against child beating for the
with me, I mean, I definitely think people trying to control parents and what they do has gotten a lot bigger.
Yeah.
As the years go on, which I don't really agree with. People are going to parent the way they parent, but I definitely don't think you should be mentally or emotionally abusive to your child. Like, and there.
But real quick,
I think there's a line when it comes to
comes
beating.
home late. Hold on. So,
yeah.
So like kid is not listening, right? Now I ain't talking about like on a macro level, but like kid is not listening. Kid is in the store touching on shit that they shouldn't be touching on. Should your hand be popped or not?
I definitely think that's okay. I definitely think that's okay.
Gotcha.
Personally, would I do it? I don't know yet. I don't know. For me to figure out. But I'm not going to be like, oh my God, like she just did that.
Yeah.
That's a white people
but
thing.
Definitely you cannot beat a concept.
I definitely think it's, whenever I see those videos of like parents like having that belt and whooping that child, like whooping, it hurts. It's there's definitely something in my stomach that doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. That's just more. It's not necessary. You're not teaching a kid when you're beating them.
Like that also causes trauma, which a lot of people have.
Like I'm more on the side of like the hot pot thing. You know what I'm saying? Where like if you touch a pot, it burns your hand, and that's the message. Don't touch that pot. So you know, like
exactly.
How you, like, thump Asia on her ear or like grab like a pressure point, like just to try to make her feel like instant pain when she did something. Like that thing that she's doing is not cool. But now you can't beat a cop. But there's been times that I've erred, you know, in full disclosure, you know, I've violated before, you know, thinking that I push my agenda.
Yeah.
Okay. So now the positive reactions that you got from the family. How did that make you feel when you got one?
It
and when I say positive, and just in the sense for somebody that wasn't negative, basically. Yeah.
It makes you feel so welcome. It makes you feel, and this is gonna sound very bare minimum, but it makes you feel okay. Like, you know, you feel relieved. Like you feel like, okay, not everyone in the world hates me for this thing that I cannot control, you know? And it's really one of the best feelings that you could really ever feel, you know.
And another reason why I ask you that, because when we have family, you have to, I really think that you should consider what you're doing to the people like in your family. Like if you can't do right by them,
right.
I don't know
You really have to
how
think
you
about
can
it.
do right by other people. Even though I've heard these stories of people that were like horrible to like their family, and then they're thought of like, you know, they're respected and loved by outsiders. But
Yeah.
you know, a lot of people that hold these common, and once again, black men, a lot of us,
Oh yeah.
a lot of y'all that hold these like really common cliche views
Stereotypes.
and stereo, you know what I'm saying? Like this is what you would do to someone that is, and for the guys my age, I'm talking about these are going to be either our sons, our nephews, like our little cousins, you know what I'm saying? Possibly a little brother, but at our age, it's we're not really dealing with the little brother. But this is more like sons and nephews. Like these are literally the offspring of people that we, I hope, care about, right? And even your offspring. Like I know dudes that have gay sons, right? And some of them, it's the irony is ridiculous because these guys are like OD homophobic. You know what I'm saying? And now it's coming home to you. I got a homie that who when we was I hate always, this always comes up. But anyway, but we was in a joint, right? That like that whole gay thing, there was so many like hyper masculine rules in prison in regard to that. Right? But I had a homie that was like just a real nigga, you know what I'm saying? Give a fuck nobody thought, you know what I mean? And and he spoke up on behalf of a guy that we knew from the neighborhood, right? And me too. I was like, you know what? We know him from the street, you know what I'm saying? And you know, he real nigga. He's gay, you know what I'm saying? But his name is Patrick. There was two Patricks. There was Fat Patrick, and then this other Patrick that was gay. We called him Punk Patrick. That was his name. You know what I'm saying? That was his street moniker. But anyway, you know, we respected the nigga. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, he was a real dude. He was who he was, and he had been who he was for a long time. But so I was telling my man that I was going to do this episode with you, right? And he said something really deep to me. He was like, you know, because he had like a gay cousin that was his age growing up, which led him to also being kind of like an advocate for our homie where we was at. But then he told me the other day when I was telling him that I was going to do this episode with you, he's like, man, you know what's crazy though? A couple years ago, his son's like 6'7" now, right? A couple years ago, he was looking at his son and some of like the toys he was playing with and shit like that. And he was wondering, like, am I seeing something? And then as it passed, right, it was his first time like coming to grips with as much as he thought that he was like evolved and inclusive and understanding, he did not want to have to deal with that, right? Like, it's easy to accept somebody else's gay son, right?
Right.
But when it's your gay son, like, how do you rationalize that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You got niggas like me that have in the that have said all the motherfucking negative shit, you know, in attempt to push back. But like, you know, like I was the first, I'm one of the first dudes to hit niggas with that. Like, nigga, if your son's gay, how you fuck, you know what I'm saying? Like, fuck was in you. You know what I'm saying? Like, where'd it come from?
Right.
You know, and not to knock it, but I'm just saying, you know, so what is your opinion on like the kids before you? Like what they went through as opposed to what you're going through? Like, do you see like a change in society? Is it better now, or do you think it was harder for them? And have you kept up with like have you heard like testimonies or stories from like the kids from like my age that came out like in the 90s or were in high school like in 1991, even or from previous generations?
See, I'm definitely very, very privileged and very blessed because You know, I'm gay in 2021, and we still have so many strides to go through, and so much to get done. But we do have it way better than the older gays did, because
And what led you to this conclusion?
well, it's very simple. It's more of just common sense. Like, hate crimes still happen to this day, but they're more easily catchable and more easily punishable. Back then, you could see somebody gay walking down the street and kill them, and you're good. You could go home and have a good night's rest. And so now we have more obstacles with that, obviously, and it's not as easy to do that. And so I'm very thankful for that, um, because I just have so much admiration for the people who were still themselves in the 80s, the 60s, the 70s, the 90s, and through all that, because you have to
It's
be really
interesting that the first thing that you brought up was like the violence that that could have came across a gay person and a gay man, gay boy. But if you look at deterrence to violence, especially from like a law enforcement standpoint, there is none. Right? Texas had a death penalty, had a death row that was like a machine. Like they was killing motherfuckers 2-3 times a week in Texas.
Yeah.
And it didn't stop one murder. Right? I remember when cameras first, when they first started putting cameras outside in like areas that we used to hustle in, right? And like we would see a camera on a block and be like, oh, we ain't gonna do nothing over there because there's a camera. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or we would try to like throw shit at the camera, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Nowadays, people know that there's cameras everywhere. You know what I'm saying? When our cousin got killed, that shit happened on camera.
Right.
The nigga that did that knew he was on camera. He literally looked at the camera as he did it. So that's just interesting to me that the first thing you think of is the penalties to like hate crime. And I don't think that stops anything. You know what I'm saying?
It doesn't.
Yeah. But okay, but I'm just pointing out something I found interesting. But okay, so that aside, what about in other aspects aside from what about
other
acceptance?
aspects?
Do you feel like how to be a 17-year-old gay guy in 2021, just not on the violent side of it, because violence could still happen today. Like,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, even if I was a 17-year-old boy and let's say like the 1980s, you have no information about what you are or who you are. You're gay, but you can't even come to terms with it because you don't even know what it is. Like, but there's no information out there on it. I went on the internet and all I found was, white gays. You can't do that in the 80s or the 90s. It's even harder to find that gay community. I mean, it was obviously still there, but it was only really popular in urban big cities. You really had to find it. So just the lack of information is just like kind of damaging. You're just like, well, damn, what the fuck? Like, what do I do now? Like,
as the old guy, your older cousin, when I was young, and like when everyone was young, there was always a gay kid in school. Every high school, every year, from year one to my high school year was 1989-ish, right?
Yeah.
There was a gay dude, couple of them, but like one that was like kind of really, and his experience, if I really had to think about it, like we wasn't that fucked up towards him. You know what I'm saying? Well, he wasn't as inclusive but that was us. But like his peers as far as like his age. You know what I'm saying? And but I guess the real question would be like outside society, right?
Yeah.
So that leads me to my next question, because this is very popular amongst, guys nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that media and pop culture can influence a kid that has not a gay bone in his body, quote unquote?
I think with the media and pop culture's power influences, it's very, very powerful over anyone today, especially young people. Um, and even like this trend amongst young guys, it's like, paint their fingernails, um, and they can get a girl easier or something like that, that's something very effeminate. That's something you really would only see a gay guy doing back then.
Oh, wait, wait, wait,
Um,
wait, wait. So you mean you're not painting their fingernails? Like get a
so like,
manicure?
there's like, I feel like there's always two different sides when it comes to Gen Z and the things that they do.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and so one side, pop culture and media are, telling men and young guys nowadays, uh, you can do these feminine things and it doesn't make you gay. Like it's okay to be comfortable in your sexuality and just explore things that you want to do for fun. And I
Mm-hmm.
totally agree with that. I totally think that's yes, like do that. And then there's the other side who kind of use that idea but to their own agenda. Uh, so a lot of women think it's very honestly, like it's very attractive when you are comfortable in your own sexuality.
Mm-hmm.
For the guys out there, when you're comfortable in your own sexuality, it makes you so much more attractive. You look like an honest person,
Mm-hmm.
and you can do these things without being like, nah, that's gay. Like I don't like nobody wants to hear that shit. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and so a lot of guys nowadays, they'll like paint their fingernails and they're like,
So when you say painting
yeah,
your
like,
fingernails, you mean so like now amongst Gen Z,
mhm,
they're like,
yeah,
because I get manicures, but I get them
yeah,
buff. I
yeah,
don't get no I don't get no polish
hmm
on shit. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
But
yeah.
so in Gen Z, straight guys are getting manicures with like color.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
There
Yeah.
sometimes some guys are even, going as far as to wear skirts and look
Straight
fly
guy.
in them. Yeah, straight guys. And I think this definitely does help. I think it helps and harms things at the same
Oh,
time.
you mean like what's the kid? Will Smith's son was doing.
Yeah, yeah, like Jaden Smith. Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
Oh, okay.
I think we're definitely going into this
Do you
idea
think that
of like,
Jaden was trying to uh, exploit or
no.
benefit
I
from gay
yeah,
culture?
I get what you're trying to say. No, I think he's definitely I think both him and Willow,
Uh-huh.
uh the Smiths have raised their kids like so well. I think both him and Willow know what they want to express and they'll express it. They have that confidence to express it. Like Willow's getting into rock music now. She's making rock music, doing rock songs. You don't see many very black people doing rock, and so
Uh-huh.
I think I think it's definitely okay to say like, okay, if you do this, that doesn't mean, you are gay. That doesn't mean you are trying to be white. That doesn't,
Mm-hmm.
I think Gen Z as a whole is definitely saying like you don't have to be put in some box all the time. You don't have to be labeled something and it be harmful to you. And so I definitely love that we are more progressive in that way. We can do things as we're more flexible with the way we think, and we're definitely more open-minded. Um, and people enjoy it that way. I definitely think there can be some harm when it comes to that, like exploiting it in a type of way. But to answer your question, do I think that the media and pop culture can influence people to be gay?
Mm-hmm.
No. I think the media and the pop culture can influence people to help them express themselves
Mm-hmm.
and find themselves,
Yeah.
you know? Because like I said, people are told not to do something. Oh, don't do that. Don't paint your nails. That's some gay shit. And
Mm-hmm.
then they tell themselves, okay, this is wrong, and then there comes that either internal homophobia or this internal hate, this trauma. The trauma is planted there, and I think sometimes the media and pop culture, and definitely Gen Z, can help with relieving that trauma and helping you open your mind. And I definitely think it's good. It's definitely good for us.
Good. All right. Yeah, that's my opinion too. Like, I remember I had a conversation with a friend of mine that he's what I call like a mainstream nigga, and and he just holds like a lot of the common opinions and points of view that I disagree with, and that I also just find extremely prevalent amongst Black men, right? And we were talking about something one time, and he was like, I wouldn't want to expose my son to that because blah 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 blah, but something along the lines that it would, compromise his masculinity, right? And I was like, man, fuck out of here. Like, like there's nothing that you could do to convince a heterosexual man to engage in a homosexual act if that wasn't already on his agenda.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I definitely think we need to normalize experimenting a bit more.
What do you mean
I
by
feel like a lot of people, I feel like a lot of people with the older generation definitely wouldn't agree with this, because I feel like, let's say there is somebody who, like a straight Black guy who's bi-curious. So,
well, can you be straight and bi-curious?
Yeah. Well, here's what I'm trying to say. So basically, like, let's say like he's been with women all his life, but one day he started to get these thoughts, and he's like, oh, like, am I attracted to this guy? Like, I find him attractive, like, blah blah blah. And let's say like he goes to experiment with another gay guy, and then after that he's like, okay, yeah, that definitely wasn't for me.
You think that's possible though?
And he's still straight. At the end of the day, he's still straight, because that's what he came to terms with. I didn't like it. I'm not comfortable with it. I'm not comfortable doing it. It's just not who I am. I'm straight.
That's interesting. Wait. So you think a nigga could get a one-off? So you think so you think a man, right? Like your age, like especially your age, like you're pubescent, right?
Yeah.
You're not even post-puberty. You're still going through it. Like right now, your hormones are doing what they do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So do you think that a 17-year-old man can have a interaction with another man and then never do it again?
Yeah.
Okay. Now
it happens.
But hold on, Jeremiah. You're 17. So you're telling me about something that you think at 17, and I'm 47. I'm 30 years older than you. So you could, so there's no way you could know what happens after 17 because you're not there yet.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to discredit it either.
No, I get what you're saying.
But I find it interesting. I would have never thought that. Because what I have in this exchange is that 30-year post-17 experience, right? And I can't think of anyone that I know that has expressed that or experienced that. But I don't know everybody in the world,
and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's
with the older generations probably wouldn't get it because they probably wouldn't try it. Definitely.
No, but what I'm saying is, the point that I'm coming from is like, if the 17-year-old boy is even in the frame of mind to try it, that means that's where he's at. If he's in the frame of mind to try it, can he be considered straight? Because straight is straight, right? We have these other things, and not to discredit the other things.
Yeah, he's still straight. He's just curious at that point. And when you act on that,
but what I'm saying, does the curiosity so like
the curiosity is not a new claim. It's not.
It's been around forever.
It's not a new sexuality. It's
No.
not something that's a staple.
Yeah.
It's a transition. You
So
know?
like this
So let's
is what
say
I'm saying. So straight is water, right? And gay is Kool-Aid. That means it's you know what I'm saying? Like straight is straight, and then gay is Kool-Aid. Everything is in it. The powder, the sugar.
Yeah.
It's a whole new. It's still water though, but it's, you know what I mean? Because and reason why I say that.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Gay is human, right? Gay is sexuality. Straight is sexuality. Human is, you know what I'm saying? Just for analogy's sake, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, if straight is water, right? Curious, that one little drop of curious changes the water. It's like once you put something in the water, it's in the water now. It's toward, so like the curious guy may not be as red, that like his Kool-Aid might not be as red because he ain't put as much Kool-Aid, as much sugar. But once you put something in the water, it's Kool-Aid. You know what I'm saying? So do you? So that's where I'm at with it. So
with you, I think I definitely, with the way a lot of people think, you know, sexuality is definitely like, I think it can definitely be a bit more lucid, and it's different for everyone. Some people are right where they are, straight, that's where they are, and that's where they are going to be for the rest of their lives. You know, some people are a bit more flexible with that. Some people, you know, with bisexual people, some men are straight and they still favor women, but they can still be interested in men. And then some people, you know, are in this journey where it's like, you know, you're straight and you've been straight your whole life, but then you have like, you know, this curious thought of, well, maybe I should just try it to see if I would like it or not, you know. And that doesn't mean you are immediately gay or, you know, anything else, you know. And it's all with self-identification, you know. And I feel like curiousness is definitely that transition. You're either transitioning into, okay, you're going to be a gay man now, or okay, you're still straight, and that's who you are, and that's who you can be. You know,
so have you
I don't think it's as permanent as you think it is. You know,
have you heard like anyone that has gone through this, has come out on the other side and said that, you know, I
think it happens a lot more than you think.
No, but have you heard of it though? Like, has anyone like?
No, like it's definitely happened personally.
But you're like 17 now, so how how? So you're telling me somebody went?
What do you mean? I think being young is the best age to do it, and you being young, when you're young.
No. What I'm saying is like, how can somebody at 17 say what the fuck they're not going to do again?
Yeah. Well,
like, okay, if a 17,
I mean, that's just
hold on. If it's as a 17-year-old, and I'm not trying to be condescending towards 17, right?
Yes.
But as a 17-year-old right now, if a 17-year-old told you,
I'm not saying that it's happened to me personally.
No. I'm not saying, but this is more of a hypothetical. As a 17-year-old, right? If a 17-year-old comes to you and be like, yo, I did some shit. This is May. I did some shit in February, and I'll never do this again. As a 17-year-old, how much stock do you take in another 17-year-old telling you they're never going to do anything again?
I mean, that's just, I'm going to be like, okay. And I'm going to believe him. That's just up to you, you know?
I'm not questioning. Like I'm not challenging it. I'm just questioning.
I know. Yeah. Let me see. Let me finish. I'm just saying, but I'm just like, I mean, that's you. And if you do try it again, okay, then maybe you are a bit more curious than you think. And if you don't, then you're comfortable in who you are and your own sexuality. But I sometimes I don't even think it's really my business to question it. I mean, that's what you want to do. That's who you are. You know, it's your journey.
I'm not saying
it's your own personal
journey.
That
regard. I'm not saying question in that regard.
I know, but I'm just saying the stock in it, I'm going to take as much stock in it as I need to. If you want to.
No, that's not what I'm asking. What I'm asking is like at 17, right? Do you think that there's finality? Can you reach a finality at this age?
Maybe. I definitely think so. I definitely think so.
That's the beauty of being 17. Like, yo, 17 is a very ill age. Like as I'm talking to you, I'm thinking back on 17, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking back to conversations that I had with people at 17. And for me, at 17, the ongoing conversation was like with almost also a lifestyle thing, right?
Yeah.
Where like I was getting into crime and shit. You know what I'm saying? And I remember like people telling me like, oh, you're gonna get killed, you're gonna go to prison, blah, 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 blah. And I remember at 17 saying some of the dumbest shit in response to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm, to get my money, blah, blah, blah. Shit ain't, you know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't gonna happen to me. You know what I mean? And
most definitely.
There's just like, for me, the level of hubris at 17 was crazy, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway, all right. Once again, the reason why I did this was for a conversation with men and family. Right? We had a tragedy last year in the family, right? And one that we missed out on. But every generation prior to us of this family had to endure it. And as far back as I can remember, I'm not even going to go back that far. My great grandmother lost a child, which would have been your great great. My grandmother, which would have been your great, lost a child. My mother, which would have been your grandmother, right? And they didn't. Like it didn't happen to us. So as far as like me, Michelle, Gary, your mother, right? It didn't happen amongst us.
Right.
But then your generation comes in and it happens, right? Where we had to bury a child. We had to lose like a child. Right. And I remember like that was all the shit that happens at a time like that happened. You know what I mean? In the time that we were together. But how did losing a family member affect your view on family?
As you were saying, it was really ever my first ever exposure to death, like in my life.
Of course.
So, when it first happened, when I was first told about it, I'm just like, how do I react? Like, and I know I'm sad and I know I'm angry and I know I'm disheartened, but like, how do I react, and how do I grieve, and there's not like some guidebook on how to do it. It just happens. And, when we all came together as a family and we were all in, auntie's basement, well, not basement, but auntie's living room. And, we were talking, just going over memories and all that. It makes you feel whole again. It makes you feel good in this time of bad, and I definitely think that family, us coming together like that, was definitely needed for something as big as that, and I definitely think we should do it more and more often because, reuniting in times of death is just so ironic, and it's just, there's better ways to do it, and so my view on the family is just like, I've always been a family oriented person, but I love my family so much. Like, I love every uniqueness, every crazy aspect, every bad aspect, every good aspect. Like, it's just, I love it with my whole heart. And I definitely think that, it was good to be there in that moment in time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and for me, this is something that it's never even been in question for me, but it gave me an opportunity to kind of reiterate it with like my daughter. But and this is more for people that are not our family that will listen to this, right?
Yeah.
Is this whole reaction to a person's sexuality, a teenager, adolescent, right? Who is now going, because most people, most boys are going to express this around like the age that you did, right? This, like, I really worry about the people that make a decision to allow this to cause a rift or a conflict in the family to the point where you compromise a relationship with a person when life itself is so fragile, right? With any minute, something could happen and someone could be taken away from us, right? And in that, and we need to treat our family. We need to treat our boys, we need to treat our sons, we need to treat our nephews like what they are. Like, this is a commodity. This is an extremely precious commodity, right? And its value is not based on what it can produce for you, what it could do for you. Like the way we value money because of what we can do with it, right?
Yeah.
But we also value money because it could also be lost as easily as it's gained. You know, so when people walk around and they're touching on their pocket, or if somebody got a pocket full of money, they're not going to just sit any kind of way. Like, they're going to be touching their pocket. You know what I'm saying? And my internet connection is unstable. I got a little
right.
So
exactly.
And that's how people should be viewed, you know, especially family. Like, the people that they could be gone any day, and who knows?
Exactly.
You know, like, that day, I remember that day like it was yesterday. You know what I'm saying? And I went out of town to see my mother, and I got that call, and in like everything that unfolded afterwards, it was just like warp speed, and for the outcome to be so final, and there were things that I appreciated Nico when he was here, and but I had my frustrations with him. You know what I'm saying? And but I never ever thought that this was on the table. And when it was served to me, I was like, damn, like, this really happened. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I was I don't know if fortunate is the right word, but at least I didn't cross any lines, right? I didn't ever say anything or do anything to be like, damn, you know, like, I didn't, like, I'll never be able to make it right. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, I was not in a state of wrong that
most definitely.
Yeah, like, my last conversation with him was as all previous conversations, is all love. You know what I'm saying? So I just say that to dudes that are like, you know, you want to ostracize somebody, or you want to alienate somebody, or you want to, you know, treat somebody as if, you know, they're not family. Most people that treat family like that don't really realize what they're like, you know, the chance that they're taking.
What the final outcome is.
Yeah. And I've seen I've seen the other side. Like, I have a friend whose father wasn't in her life. And he had his struggles with like drugs and, you know, poverty, and, you know, and her stepfather raised her, you know, provided what she needed, and then she was able to take it to the next level in her own adult life, right? And when her father was towards the end of his life, her other siblings was reaching out to her like, yo, it's not looking good for him. And she was like, you know, fuck him, you know what I'm saying? And he died, right? And after he died, she was like, fuck him, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
For some strange reason, she went to the funeral though, after all that. When she saw him and the finality of that really hit. It took something out, right?
Yeah.
And it could have been like, it was something that like she now has to carry this weight that she just does not, she didn't have to carry. Like she had options
For the rest of her
not pick
life.
the burden up. But she chose this burden, and now she's going to carry this burden for the rest of her life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I say that to people that, you know, be careful of what you pick up, because some things that you pick up, you can't put back down. Like once you pick it up, it's yours. You know, so if you have a nephew or a son or a little cousin and you know, he's 6, 7 years old and he's expressing something that's in him, he's 11, 12 years old, and he's telling you he's 16, 17 years old and he got all the sauce, you know what I'm saying? You can't be like, there's nothing to gain. There is absolutely nothing to gain from being negative. You do nothing.
Exactly.
You do nothing for the family. Exactly. You do nothing for yourself. You do nothing for society, you know? And this shit that we got going on in our community, where it's like, you know, let's have this, you know, let's have this, I don't even know if enemy is the right word, but let's just have this collective view on people in our family. Because like when the kid did the thing recently, what's that little nigga name? Lil Nas X, right? Mm-hmm. And the response to that, right? Aside from the trolling and all that, you know what I'm saying? Forget that.
Yeah.
But like amongst my thread and you know, my unfortunate, you know, when you're 47 years old and you Black in America, you have in my opinion, you have an unfortunate connection to like a lot of niggas that you really don't.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
But like
most definitely.
a lot of those dudes' reaction was like, "Yo, that's this generation," and you know, like, man, that shit. And I just want to say to y'all, like, that shit is that shit means nothing. You're literally contributing nothing to the world,
the conversation. Yeah,
with that opinion, with that stance. Nothing that a kid watches on TV is going to make them, right? Nothing that a kid, like, I don't care how many Tyler Perry movies, how many motherfucking Lil Nas X's, how many times Kid Cudi wears a dress on Saturday Night Live. Like that shit is all performative, right? Only thing that is going to make a boy gay is if he's gay, right? And if he's gay, he's gay. That's on him. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, but you could throw stones at somebody else's kid all day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But as long as that you have a family, and as long as you got sisters and brothers and nieces and nephews, and as long as they fucking and having kids, eventually the odds are somebody in your family
is going to be gay. Yeah. Most definitely.
So when that shit come home, you know what I'm saying? It hit different when it's at home, man. And I just want you to know, like, when I came home, you was already like, well into like 11-ish, 12-ish, you know what I'm saying? And then you went to Florida, so I didn't really get to see you. When I saw you last year, I remember when I walked up to the door and you were standing outside looking saucy in the motherfucker. I'm like, who the fuck is this? Like, I didn't even know it was, I literally didn't, like, we was outside interacting. I was like, oh shit, you Jeremiah. And he was like, yeah. I was like, oh, man. You know what I'm saying? But at that time of all times, was just like the time that I just wanted to let you know that, you know, your family and like I always knew the struggle, always knew what you had to go through at home. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just so relieved that those things didn't destroy you, right? And I'm relieved that collectively that we ended up in your household that a level of acceptance and respect and appreciation was reached. Like y'all went through it. and y'all made it through it. And you did it with girls. You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't have to really deal with like
the whole
the man, you know, like you didn't have like the male aspect, which I don't know how it differed, you know what I'm saying? But you know, I just wanted to always be able to give you acceptance, and like I could, and just to let you know that when you know you have family and we love you, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like your most hoodest niggas street family member, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and you know, and I just always want you to feel like, you know, you're loved, you're accepted, and we're proud of you, and we just and we dig you, like we dig your whole staff, you know what I'm saying? And I remember we had the best Christmas ever when you and your home came up, you know what I'm saying? And when we was given the New Year's resolution, and you was like, my New Year's resolution is to be more like confident, right? And I was like, yo, nigga, you saucy as fuck. Like how much more confidence do you need? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
and then you know, we had a little conversation that pretty much the gist of it was like the confidence and all of that was like a coping mechanism, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, even with all the confidence and all the sauce, it's like an everyday thing that you feel that you have to combat. You know what I mean? And you don't need to have that from the family. And as family members, like when the family goes outside, they have to deal with everything they have to deal with.
Right.
As family members, we should all offer space for each other, that you don't got to deal with that shit that you got to deal with outside. In here, it's nothing but love. It's nothing but acceptance. You could be you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. All right.
I love that. That's definitely, that touches me, like seriously, because you know it's very like, I love to hear those words come out of your mouth, and it really does make me feel very validated and very loved and very supported. So thank you for
You're
that.
welcome. You're welcome. You know, all you have to do is be born in this family to get this from me, right? Because this is natural. You know what I'm saying? Like family means a lot to me. And because you were born in this family, and because
I'm successful about it, like, you know.
Yeah. And because I had to have this experience with you, there's no way that I could carry that, you know, that I could view anybody else's son or anybody else's nephew or anybody else's little cousin is different, you know? And that's really what I'm hoping to get across to like dudes my age and just our community. Like these young men are ours, you know what I'm saying? And there's no need, there's nothing to gain from tearing them down. There's nothing to gain from making them feel less than, you know? And if you embrace and encourage someone to be themselves, they're gonna be who they are. And because the thing is, they're gonna be who they are, whether you encourage it or not, right?
Exactly.
But while you're discouraging it, them being who they are could lead to some other stuff. And and a discouraged person can be pushed to do things that are not going to benefit anyone involved.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I gotta get up out of here, little cuz.
Okay.
Once again, this has been another episode of the Dive Cave. And remember that fate has dealt you a winning hand, so you always have a finger to click this link.
Okay.
All right. So give them your handles and shit like that. What's your social media?
Okay, yeah. The Instagram is LuxJaer, LuxXGaer, Snapchat Jeremiah and that's all I'm about.
What do you aspire to do now that you're 17 is coming to an end, high school is coming to an end? Unfortunately, I know
I've had so many accomplishments.
People don't like when people ask them this, but you know, you come from a family where some of us are hustlers and we get out and do shit, right? I've been getting out and doing shit since I was your age. So I just like to know what a little nigga's up to. So what are you gonna be?
You know,
you remember what I told you when you were
like,
16? You remember what I told you when you were 16, right? I remember
what
I
did you tell me?
I said when you were 16, I was like, it's some niggas that are 24 years old. Right?
Yes. I remember this.
And at 24 years old, all they could do is look back at the last 8 years, be like, yo, I ain't do shit. And I was like, do not be one of those niggas at 6.
And
when you were 16, I said,
I'm
do
not,
not let the next 8 years go by and you could be in a position to be like, man, I ain't do shit. You know what I'm saying?
With me being who I
hate
am,
to be this person, but I require shit. I require shit to be done. I want to know.
Most definitely. I'm definitely that boss person.
What's the next step for you?
You know, me being who I am and the way I'm living, you know, and who I'm living with, you know, I have done so much shit. I have been the homecoming king. I have been the president of the largest club on campus, the drama club. I was awarded a youth leadership award by our city. You know, I've done so many things, and I'm only gonna do more. I'm moving back to the big city at the end of the summer, and I want to get into modeling as a hobby. I want to look for some internships. I'm eventually gonna go into school during the second semester, community college, and try and get my fashion business degree. I want to do some shit, you know?
Okay, so it's definitely going to be entertainment, fashion, taking that,
most definitely.
Into that
That's
world.
definitely who I am.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm here for it. You know what I mean? I expect nothing, you know, nothing but the best, and I know you're gonna shoot for it. And yeah, I really believe. I told you that last year too. That I really thought that you should come back here and you know get in the mix and take it to where you could take. Because while you're young, this is the time. Like this is the time to chase.
Most definitely.
You know what I mean? And the chase never stops. I'm 47 and I
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But the earlier you begin to chase, like if I had 17 to do over, which nobody does. But you know, unfortunately, when I was 17, I thought that I was going to be something that is just not even. I don't even think it was feasible to be what I thought what I was pursuing. You know what I'm saying? What you're pursuing is tangible, right?
Right.
However, it requires a lot from you, and you have it all to give. You just have to give it. It requires you to do a lot. Everything that it requires you to do is within your scope of capability. You just have to do it. That's it. I hate to oversimplify it, not, you know, but you just need to come here, get in the mix, get it popping, make it happen.
And I've always been adaptable, so I think I'll grow. I definitely think I'll grow.
Definitely. All right, so I'll see you when you get here.
All right, bye, I'll see you later. Bye. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for coming. All right, love you, cuz.
Love you too.